Thank you very much for joining me in this heavy talk. You've been loyal to the legacy of thrash metal through all of your career. I want to start with Diabolical, your latest album, and I look at the cover art and I see this whole thrash and death legacy, though a lot of bands like Creator have changed the artwork style, but I see you didn't.
Yeah, we're old school, we like the 80s art, and Diabolical. It was important to keep this alive. I call it a little bit of like Repka style. Ed Repka was the one who made this famous covers in the 80s with the monsters and stuff. And we wanted to have a cover like this time. Yeah, and I think for a thrash band, sometimes I see those modern covers and I'm like, back in the day we bought the album because it looked badass. You knew what was in there. The death metal cover had the bloody corpses and and nowadays some of the metal covers, they have like high designer art and you're like, what is in there? Like an architect or what? It's like, what kind of music is this? So I think the identification for a thrash album should always still be the cover. And in general, in metal, I'm old school. I like it this way.
Yeah, that's nice. Speaking of old school, I did an interview with Rudi Schenker and Matthias Jabs, and I asked Matthias about what is the gear that they are using? Do they use modelers or he said literally, we always use in studio and live real amps, real cabinets. We don't use this modelers and all that crap. Yeah. That's what he said. So I look now.
I signed that. I would sign that. Yeah.
I saw that now, the Marshalls and stuff.
Yeah.
So you totally agree.
Yeah, I totally agree. Nowadays it's easier to use the digital stuff, because it's easy to carry, it's easy to bring, and it doesn't sound as good, it doesn't feel as good. Also on stage we still like the noise, If I have like headphones and I have this very clean sound, the stomach doesn't move, it's not the same. And when I see a lot of those new bands, young bands on stage nowadays, there's nothing. There's just silence. There's just silence and drums, And where's the rock and roll? What happened to rock and roll? So I still like it, and I understand it's the easy way to do it. It sounds like in the studio almost when you play like this, but you don't hear the crowd also, unless you have ambient microphones that are especially for the crowd, and that's a lot of extra stuff. And when you have enough money, everything's possible. But I still like the old school way. I like when I can feel the music also. And traditional amps. Luckily, also my guitar players are both on my side. They love amp sounds and they love the old school way. And yeah, it's disappearing because the new way is easier. It's the same with the CDs and the vinyl. We're living in a digital world.
Same with electric cars. Same with everything.
But then a couple of weeks ago, we had like one wrong update on a server somewhere, and the whole digital work didn't work. The banks didn't work. So, the digital world is still very fragile. I like the old way of playing music, and I hope we can still do this until the end of the days of destruction, because it's changing. It's going to get more difficult to get amplifiers wherever you play. Because it's disappearing. All the new bands are using backing tracks anyways. It's basically playback. A lot of bands are playing playback nowadays,
Yeah, to cut costs, basically.
So
I think.
The what?
I think to cut costs.
Yeah, but some bands are not playing at all. There's bands that are not playing a single note or singing a single note live. It's playback like pop bands did.
Yeah.
And it's on the big festivals. I see it. There's bands using more laptops than band members, And that's the wrong development. For me, rock and roll always was real and played live. And even if there's a wrong note or a fuck up, it's live, it's rock and roll, right?
That's what they call it, why they call them real amps.
Yeah.
They are real.
Yeah. There's a saying, when a band sounds like on record, it's the record. Then They play the backing tracks for you,
Yeah, I understand.
Because the energy of a live show should be different. And it's easy, but people are doing. But you know, I don't understand the logic behind it, because when you're not playing the live show, when you use backing tracks, you're faking the show.
Yeah, I think everyone agrees with that.
Yeah.
Do you think that Metallica got big because they didn't stick to a certain formula, because between thousand brackets sold out, because they always changed in style and in their sound? Do you think that's part, they always gained new audience? Do you think that's part of them being big, or
I think they always been the first ones doing something. I think they when they created their style of thrash metal, they've been one of the first bands, and they did it very good. They made the right decisions on producers and stuff. And also when they changed, when the big change came with the Black Album, they chose the right producer for it, you know. And it was a very different album, but it has great songs. So I think it's a lot of making the right decisions.
And being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, having the right producer, you know, having the right team around you, but also you have to write the good songs, you know. And they've been writing a lot of great songs. In the last year, not so much, I think, you know. The last years in Metallica, the last albums, they don't really touch me so much. The last album is not bad, I have to say.
Yeah,
you know?
it's more like new of a British heavy metal than Kill 'Em All.
Yeah, there's this one song that sounds like Diamond Head, the first single. Yeah, it's actually a pretty cool song. But yeah, I mean, I think they're there because they were one of the first bands doing something new. And when they changed to amazing songwriting and amazing production with Bob Rock at that time. So they did a lot of things right, of course, at the right time, and that's how the world works. The right timing is always most important.
Great. Do you think, I look at the Songs of Destruction and the lyrical themes, even your last single, No Kings, No Masters, the song Diabolical, always there's the theme of being abolish authority, killing politicians or something like that, okay?
They stoked up fires, misusing desires, creating disasters. No gods, no kings, no masters. No kings, no masters. No masters.
Do you think, because, and for example, Creator have similar themes, do you think that you guys, because you were in Germany at the end of the Soviet Union in the 80s, do you think that affected your views around the world, which affected your music?
I think also we grew up with punk rock. You know, punk rock was always an important element, you know. And the conservative regime was always a push for us. You know, we wanted to push for independence, push for freedom of mind also, because at the beginning, when we were metalheads, we were the scum of society. We were the outsiders. The public looked at us like, what the fuck is those guys, you know? And we always tried to push for the freedom of speech, freedom of mind. And then we started to travel to see the world, you know, and see how the world works and how some countries are more free than others. And then we started to write about this, you know. And I think the music kind of brought us the big luck to see the world. So we start to write about it, and that's what I still do in my lyrics. People sometimes say, hey, you live in a rich country like Germany, how can you criticize stuff? You should be happy with what you have. Yeah, but also there's a lot of bullshit going on in Germany with corruption, with politicians.
That doesn't make any sense, their argument.
Yeah.
Because I think what you're saying, like you're saying, applies everywhere in the world.
Exactly. And then I think this is the basic background. I think the first steps of punk rock were also important for Miller, from Creator, also for Slayer. Even they were not so social criticism, but they also had this punk rock background. For us, also, it reflected in the lyrics after we started with very evil lyrics at the beginning. People say the first albums were like even almost black metal, right? But after a while, we started to bring this punk rock vibes back and try to write lyrics that make more sense to me. You know, like stuff that burns on your soul, that you want to get out of your mind, that you want to tell people what you're thinking about. You know, this is a bummer. What the fuck is going on in the world? You scream it out, and I think it's a big relief for me as a musician also to be able to talk about problems, to talk about my mindset, you know, because it's kind of, it's a part of the freedom of an artist, I think.
Great. Can I talk to you about some issues that you mentioned in the lyrics and you mentioned in different interviews, and you can pass for some questions. One of the interviews I saw for you, you said if you were in charge, you would forbid religion. That's what you said. And don't you think this is maybe an extremist view, because the Soviet Union tried to do this and at the end
It didn't work. You know, we all know.
It didn't work.
We all know. But you know, the problem about that is the wars of the world, and the way we are biased, and we kind of look at people, are all based on religious wars that we had in the past. You know,
Yeah.
the way the Western world looks at the East, the Middle East, the way the Middle East looks at the West, it goes back hundreds and hundreds of years of bad wars between religions. You know, and that's the way I see that it's not working. It seems to be not working to live in peace together, even if all the basic idea about religion is fantastic, of course. You know, if you read the 10 Commandments of the Bible, I think there's a lot of good stuff.
I don't really agree with that.
You shall not kill. You should, you know, the rules are
Yeah,
good. You shall not kill. You should love your neighbor. You should, you know, be a nice guy in the world. That's fantastic. But people misuse the religion worldwide. You know, like when America started the war in Iraq,
Yeah.
he declared the holy war again. What the fuck, you know? Why do we do
But
this?
do you think that religion is the problem, or religion is the cover-up?
It's a cover-up. The problem are the humans. And
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
of course, the humans are the problem. You know, we are the problem, and the greed of humanity. You know, when you get too greedy,
You fuck things up.
then you don't realize anymore what you do, I guess, you know. And I think the humans are the problem, of course. And how do you? It's the same thing in my business. When somebody gets really famous, they go nuts. You know, they become too
Ego,
greedy.
yeah.
They become ignorant. You know, and I guess it's like this all over the world. That when people become too greedy, too ignorant, then it's always a problem. You know. That's why actually I was following, when I was a young guy, I was following actually the Emirates, because the concept of United Emirates sharing stuff also, you know, I don't know how the situation is now, but you know, the way the country was built also give jobs to the people and give a certain amount of kind of freedom to every grown-up person that lives here, you know, was kind of interesting, you know. So I was like, when I was a young boy, I remember this is an interesting concept,
Yeah.
that you don't have unemployment, that you share a part of the richness that you have in the country with everybody. If you go to Scandinavia, it's the same thing. Scandinavia is a great role model for the Western world that works pretty good, I think, you know. Other countries don't work so well, but there's less corruption, there's more, they give more to the people, you know, like, for example, what I think is very important is the education of the youth in general. That in Scandinavia, people get educated for sports, for music, for art. When you have a young kid and you want to train the kid as a guitarist or whatever kind of music, you can go to a school in Sweden for free, you know. And young kids, they're off the street, not going to take any drugs or have weird ideas. They play in the football team. They have a great youth for a kid, and that's the most important thing, is for the kids to have a dream and be educated, right? And that's for that, Scandinavia, I think, is fantastic.
So you believe
that's the lack of like, even my country, Germany, like, music is not supported in any way. It's bad. You know, art in general in Germany. Germany is a country of art, but they don't support the artist. There's very little support for the artists in Germany.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's strange to me to hear, because it's very active musically.
Yeah, it is. We have a huge active music scene, but if the government has a big party, they're not going to invite the Scorpions. They will invite the techno DJ.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you know, see? And he's not playing music, is he?
Yes.
He's creating digital stuff with a knob, right?
Yeah, of course, of course. So, you think there is? Should we go more into political shit or
I don't
stick
know.
to the music?
We can stick to the music.
Yeah,
We're basically here for music, right?
Yeah, of course.
But of course, it's interesting. I always go to every country, and I want to understand what's going on there. I want to understand the philosophy of the country.
Of course.
How do people feel? You know, so that's why we're also very happy to come finally to the Emirates to play. You know,
what made you, believe in destruction through all these decades and stick to the project in spite of all the lineup changes? I know now that you have Randy Black, who is, very well-known drummer, and you have two great guitarists. But because I look at it from my experience. I started a band in the Middle East like 25 or 20 years ago, and then I give up.
Yeah,
what made you not give up?
And see, that is the problem. I have so many fantastic musicians that gave up. And they gave up too early because they could be somewhere else, I think you have got to have a long breath in music business. You got to stand up and go on. And if you're 20 and you not make it, and you're 30 and you didn't make it, but with 40, you could still make it. Believe in it. Like my guitar player, Martin Furia, he was a tour manager for many years. He was a musician for many years. But then he, became our guitarist, and now he can play music full time, and he's also a producer, so his dream came true. But he needed to be like 43 years old to make it happen. So I think believe in your dreams, and that's the thing for Destruction also. I always believed in Destruction. We had some ups and downs and lineup changes and difficult years, but you gotta believe in what you do, and I always believed in music, and music for me is the biggest gift of mankind. What would any kind of music, I'm a metalhead, I love rock music, but I think music in general gives so much to humanity. So what would life be without music? And that's always an inspiration.
That's great. What do you think the future of music with the AI thing, the streaming thing, the music free, no copyright music libraries? I mean, I tried to make a career as a composer. It didn't really work because there's a lot of competition that is not a human competition.
Yeah.
So what do you think the future of music in all of this?
I mean, the Matrix movie, the first Matrix movie.
Yeah.
It becomes real now, right? So,
yeah.
And my brother, he's working in the business of, he's an administrator for a very big company, and he says to me, the thing that people are gonna go holidays, one day it's gonna stop and they're just gonna lay in a box and get a plug-in, and then they will have the best holidays of their lives, like in the Matrix movie. It's gonna be possible one day.
Yeah, that's like scary.
That's
like
scary, right?
Yeah, it is.
But the new generation now grows up already with this AI stuff, and they already think different than we do. We're scared of the Matrix. They're like, the new generation is like, bring it on. We like the Matrix. So I don't know where it's going, but at the end, also in the Matrix movie, there will be resistance. There will be people who want to have the old school back, the pure way back, the real way back. So I think, there will be always people that try to
stick to it.
They try to keep this real and try to stick to it. When I started music, we grew up on vinyl. Then the big industries wanted to kill the vinyl, and they couldn't, because there was resistance in the punk rock, in the metal scene, in the DJ scene also. So those people kept the vinyl alive, and now the vinyl has a big comeback worldwide. So even the big major companies printed vinyl again. So I think some stuff is hard to kill, and hopefully, like rock and roll and rhythm music will always be real, even if the AI can of course create and copy. But what it does is basically it just steals from real artists, So
the COVID area, some people were talking that live music will be dead.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, I think people will still always enjoy to go out, and there's nothing like a live concert. I will remember, like when you have people when you ask people about memories of people will always go back to the first song you hear, and then you have a whole scenery with it, or the first concerts you've been. I think you always connect with music. So real live music will hopefully always be a thing. What just scares me is that I see more and more bands using the backing tracks that we
Yeah,
talked
that's
about.
horrifying a little bit.
But I think there will be, we always go back to the pure thing. We turn in circles in the world, and there will be later on. Maybe there's going to be holidays like back in the 80s, with basic stuff. There's already this survivor stuff that people go in the woods and they try to have they make fire and they live, hunting and going back to the basics. I think this will be in the future also coming back because, we're going to a very digital world where we don't really belong, and people still want to be active. Otherwise, if you do the Matrix and we just lay in the bed the whole day and get connected, I don't want to be that. I mean, we're going to be too old to go there. But I think the young generation, they're kind of ready to experience this, and that's a little bit scary.
It is. You did the Fast Like a Shark cover.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about your influences. I think Accept is one of the top 3, maybe.
Oh yeah, I mean, without Accept, we wouldn't be here. Fast as a Shark, the song, the album, Restless and Wild, even the Breaker album before was a huge influence on Destruction, on the spirit of speed metal at that time.
Of course.
So I think without those songs, we wouldn't be here today.
So if you want to pick up another 2 bands other than Accept that really affected you and made you love heavy metal,
I think definitely Judas Priest. Unleashed in the East, the live album that came in '79. I was very young, and it was the first look of metal. The studs, the leather, the flying V guitars, and then the sound also of the guitars. So I think Judas Priest are maybe my all-time favorite influence. And then if it comes to thrash metal, I guess Metallica's Kill 'Em All album was a game changer for everybody. The crunch of the guitars, the speed of the songs. We all tried to go there at this time, and when the album came out, we were like, this is the new style, that is the shit. And that's how it started back in the day for us. And that's still, if I listen to Kill 'Em All, I'm still amazed by how good the album sounds nowadays and about the amount of killer riffs and ideas that the album has.
Yeah. The video of Diabolical, you have like love for horror movies or something, or it just happened this way?
We all had when we were young, right? I mean, nowadays I don't watch too much horror anymore, but when we were young, we all loved the classical horror movies, right? And the Mad Butcher theme, of course, was always an interesting topic. I mean, Jack the Ripper never gets old, right? How many movies been made about Jack the Ripper? I guess humans just like to be scared sometimes, and then like to wake up and say, "Oh, it was just a movie,"
Yeah, that's maybe the idea that made Black Sabbath become Black Sabbath after they've been earthed. That people likes to be scared, and maybe that's the idea that you just said have started heavy metal in a way. That making scary stuff through the ear, not only through the eye.
Yeah. We always say sonic mayhem, right? That's what heavy metal is for the ears of normal people, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, sir, final thoughts, future plans.
We already finished our new album that will come out early next year. So we will keep on touring. We're going to go to Latin America next and go to Turkey also in November. I'm looking forward to that. And Czech Republic in December. And then basically we're going to have a little time off. Maybe then I come back to Dubai for some holidays.
That would be great.
Yeah, because it's very impressive. Very nice to be here. It was like not enough time to see everything. And we're going to release a new album, I think in March. And around that time we're going to go back on tour with a new album. And then there's a lot of future plans. We all talk about the German Big Four playing together.
Yeah, of course.
That has to happen in the future at one point. At least some selected shows. We did one in Germany.
Yeah.
It was sold out in 3 days, like 7,000 people. It was insane. So we hopefully can do more like this. I mean, in the future that will be a dream for the thrashers, the metalheads, and also for the bands. So hopefully we can make it happen.
That's great. Thank you very much for giving me this time.
Pleasure, thank you.
And it was very interesting.
Thank you.
Thanks. Can we have a picture?
Sure, of course.
Thank you.